Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We are excited to introduce this new relationship with Goodleap. We're bringing them on as a TPO partner. We are so excited to have the folks with Goodleap here with us today. Let's jump right into the agenda about what we're going to cover in this webinar with introducing Goodleap as a new TPO option. First, we'll talk about who Goodleap is, where they are in the solar industry, and why we've chosen this relationship with them that we're very excited about. We'll talk about the available markets, what's opening and when. Talk about the different product offerings. Really get into the nitty gritty of their credit requirements and housing types, etc. Then we're going to do some live demonstration of how to go into Lightspeed and build one of these proposals. So we're going to access that from Aurora, and then we will get that proposal built and submitted, and then we'll do the frequently asked questions and Q&A at the end. So like all of these webinars, about halfway through, you're going to see a Q&A button pop up. When that pops up, you can go ahead and start submitting questions. We have our normal panel plus folks from Goodleap here to answer your questions. So we'll take care of that Q&A at the end, but let's get into who is Goodleap. So Goodleap is a technology company delivering best-in-class financing and software products for sustainable solutions. Over 1 million homeowners have benefited from their products. Goodleap's platform has led to more than $27 billion in financing for sustainable solutions since 2018. And Goodleap is working with Freedom Forever to include its TPO offering for our independent sales reps. So, where will Goodleap be available to start? The initial market for Goodleap is Texas, with California, New Jersey, and Florida coming soon after. And we will notify you all, we'll blast out emails, get all the communications out when those additional markets are open. But Texas is the one that's opening today. So what is their product offering? What does Goodleap offer when you're going to build these proposals in Aurora? So they're going to offer a lease and what's called a balanced billing PPA. Now, the different states, when they open, will have different products. So, for instance, in Texas, they will have the lease and the PPA for solar only and for their backup. In New Jersey, same thing. They'll have the lease and the balanced PPA for solar and backup. California will not be a solar only market. Any project you do in California when they open up will be solar plus battery. And Florida will have solar only and backup battery, but they'll be lease only. So no PPA options in Florida. So that's what's coming down the pipeline. These are the initial states that open. Again, Texas is opening today, with these other states rolling out shortly after. And you'll have the lease and that balanced billing PPA, depending on which market you're in. So let's talk about the underwriting criteria for these Goodleap products. The minimum FICO score is 650. They don't look at debt to income. You can do it with an owner-occupied or a second vacation home, but one applicant must be on title. The eligible property types for the TPO products are single-family homes, townhomes, condos, multifamily that is less than 4 units, manufactured homes on permanent foundations. So we'll get a little bit into that in a couple slides down. Now let's talk about the utility bill requirements. When you're submitting a utility bill for Goodleap, the utility account number and bill has to be dated within the last year. It's got to reflect 1 month of usage reflected on the bill, and those units need to be measured in kilowatt hours. Now, with Goodleap, it must be an established property with usage. No new builds will be considered until you have a usage history, even if it's just 1 month. If anything like that changes, we'll let you know, but as it stands right now, to put a Goodleap product through with their TPO product, you have to have usage with that project. So we talked about this in a previous slide. Let's go a little bit deeper on the approved property types and mounting structures, right? Again, we have single family homes. You can do duplexes and triplexes. The customer must own the roof or attic space, and the customer must own the wall where the electrical equipment is being installed. For a townhouse, it's very similar. They must own the roof or attic space, and the customer must own the wall where the electrical equipment is being installed. Now, for manufactured homes, customer ownership of the property land, and it also must have a permanent foundation. And then you need a PE letter and a signed and sealed validating structural integrity of the home in order for you to do a manufactured property with Goodleap. Okay, so again, let's talk about some of the key criteria. We do have the solar only, the solar plus backup, and then they do have the energy shift backup, which is similar to like the non-backup battery option in California. The term is 25 years. The minimum system size is 3 kilowatts, maximum 25, and they have a minimum sun hour requirement of 800. You can buy out these systems after the 5th anniversary. They are transferable, and you can do a prepay, and where there's a production guarantee, 85% we're allowed. Now, in terms of building these projects, there is a required first-year savings, and when we talk about the Texas market, we'll talk about custom rates and what we're building into Aurora so that this is more effective when you're building these proposals. A couple of extra points we should go over before we do the live demonstration. We are in the process of creating custom rates for Texas so we can give you the most accurate bill representation when you're building these projects. Also, keep in mind that if you're going to offer the lease product, there are change orders for all equipment changes, specifically for the leases. Now, Goodleap uses Copilot for their welcome calls and welcome call validation. That is a company we're familiar with. It is a video welcome call. So be on the lookout for the Copilot welcome call when you complete the contract stage. Also, last extra note, ACH AutoPay is required for all Goodleap TPO products. So make sure that when you are getting customers signed up, you get them signed up for ACH AutoPay. No ACH payment, no TPO product. Very similar to other partnerships we have. So get in the habit of building that into the presentation. All right, so let's jump over to Lightspeed and walk you through the process of designing these projects in Aurora. If you have familiarity with Aurora, this is going to be very similar if you've used a different TPO partner. We'll talk about pricing the system, designing the system, and then how to apply for that, and then submit it to Lightspeed. So let's jump over to Lightspeed. Okay, we've jumped over to Lightspeed, and we're looking at the leads dashboard. So I've gone ahead and created a lead for Goodleap for the state of Texas, and we're going to generate a new Aurora proposal. So I've got this new Aurora proposal, and I'm going to scroll down. I've got all my important information, name, phone number, address. We're going to click confirm and open up that proposal in Aurora. So let's go ahead and get this system designed. I'm going to go put some usage in here and use the generability tool. So I've got my usage in here now, and I've got my correct solar rate here and my pre-solar rate. Click done. And we're going to jump down to the design of the system. Run Aurora's Roof AI and get this system designed out. So I'll go ahead and place some panels on the roof, get this design and max fit done, price this system out so I can demo for you exactly what it looks like to choose Goodleap and to price your system. So if I'm satisfied with that design, I'll go ahead and click finalize. When you're designing a project for Goodleap, when we go to the pricing page, it is important that you build in all of the adders that you intend to have for this project, right? So keep a note. Just a note for everybody working on this, if you're going to do Goodleap, right? This number on the upper left-hand side where you set your net price per watt, that's really only applicable if you're doing a cash or loan, right? When you're doing a TPO product, you're going to choose it from the financing type. Now, based on the amount of sun hours that roof gets, that's what's going to determine your EPC, right? So with these third-party owned projects, you're going to make sure you find out what your EPC is by choosing the financing type on the upper right-hand side. So you don't use the net price per watt up here. You're going to determine your net price per watt by pressing the pencil tool. But first, we want to make sure that we choose all of the appropriate adders for this project, right? So let's say this customer was planning on going with the Safe Streets Essentials. So we've chosen our Safe Streets Essentials for this project, and let's say they are going to go with the end phase inverters. Okay, so when I'm ready to price this system with Goodleap, I'm going to go on the upper right-hand side and press the financing type. I will choose Goodleap as my finance partner. And let's say for this option, we're going to choose the Goodleap lease at 2.99%. You'll see the calculate your payments button appear at the bottom, and then a pop-up window will appear showing you the solar rates per kilowatt hour, the monthly payment, and what the EPC would be at that rate. Let's choose this option, 10 cents. I'll click save. This will calculate the year one monthly payment with the escalator. Say done. When you choose the financing screen, you'll see the option you chose with Goodleap. 10 cents with a 2.99 escalator, their monthly payment. And as soon as I click this apply now button, that will open up the financing application for Goodleap. After you click the apply now button, you'll be taken to Goodleap's financing application where you can scroll down income information, employment duration, and then answer the questionnaire with the homeowner. If they have a co-borrower, you would add them there. Your sales rep information will be here as well. Check the boxes, have the homeowner sign the application, and then you can submit that to Goodleap. Once that homeowner has passed credit, we can return to the Aurora proposal and convert that project using the exit to CRM button, which we'll do now. So I will click on the upper right-hand side, choose exit to CRM, and convert this project back over to Lightspeed. And it can't get much easier than that. So if you're already familiar with designing these projects inside of Aurora, this will be a very seamless process for you. Only real difference is making sure that you have designed the system appropriately, that you have checked the appropriate adders, and that you've completed the financing application by choosing financing type on the upper right-hand side. So we've reached the Q&A session. Ideally, you've submitted questions up to this point into the chat so we can go through those questions and get some of them answered now. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, let's start getting through some of these questions, y'all. If you have questions about this process, anything Goodleap related that you'd like, click that Q&A button, start submitting those questions in, and we'll start getting these through. All right, our first question is related to manufactured homes, and that is, we mentioned the PE letter with manufactured homes, and they want to know, what is a PE letter? And anyone want to follow up on that?
Yeah, for sure. So Mark, Goodleap requires that manufactured homes have a permanent foundation. We don't require a PE letter. A PE letter is a professional engineering letter. And so on the Goodleap side, we just require a permanent foundation. However, Freedom Forever might have additional guidelines for manufactured homes.
Thank you so much, David. We're getting a lot of questions about availability. Rob, can you talk about the current rollout plan and what states are anticipated as we begin here?
Yeah, for sure. Morning, everybody. Yeah, so I know it was previously communicated, I think, on one of the calls last week that we were looking at 4 states, including Texas, but also I believe it was California, Florida, and New Jersey. Things have been pretty fluid here, and we have changed that plan a little bit. So as Mark mentioned, we are launching Texas today. We expect California and Florida to launch within the next 2 weeks. Jersey may be a little bit delayed after that, another potentially week or so after that. We're trying to balance getting the product out there as quick as we can, but also being responsible with kind of the integrations and making sure that kind of everything is working as expected. This is a new integration with Goodleap and Aurora. And, again, we want to get this out in your hands. I know how bad you guys want it. And, it's never ideal to communicate something and then change it after the fact. But we just felt it was a little bit more prudent to stage the rollout, over the course of a few weeks. So as soon as we do feel comfortable with it, kind of collectively as a group, we want to get these products out ASAP. And if we can push up that timeline any sooner, we can. But again, just to reiterate, Texas today, California, Florida within a couple of weeks, Jersey shortly after that is the current plan. Mark, if you're talking, you're muted. Yep, there you go. Still can't hear you, Mark.
What they need to enter into Aurora?
We didn't have your audio until the very end.
Okay.
You want to just read that question again, Mark?
Yeah. Does Goodleap allow grid charging with the batteries? The answer to that question is no. They can only be charged from solar. Okay. Hi, that one. And you all are able to hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you back now.
Okay. This next one's from James. This one's for Rob. Can we talk a little bit more? We had mentioned earlier in the week about the process of entering usage into Aurora. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. And would invite the Goodleap team to chime in or correct me where I'm wrong. So, one of the requirements that Goodleap does have that I believe Mark covered is that there does need to be 1 month of data entered manually into Aurora. So, in other words, you can't just use annual total or monthly average. You do need to key in at least 1 month. Ideally, we always recommend to do as many months as you can get. 12 would be best. You don't have 12 or whatever the case is, you only have one bill in front of you, you must key in at least 1 month's worth of usage in there. The other months will be estimated by Genability, and that's usually pretty accurate. You should expect that there will be some usage check downstream, so you want to make sure that whatever usage the customer has, if they do have usage, you definitely want to use that and make it as accurate as we can. David or Emily or anybody else from the Goodleap side, feel free to add any other color. That would be my answer.
Yeah, that's right, Rob.
All right, we'll go ahead and archive that. Next question is from Zeke. When selecting adders, are they automatically added, or do we treat that like nfin and check once we hit exit to CRM in terms of checking the adders inside of Aurora?
Yeah, I'll take that one. Depending on which adder we're talking about, could have a slightly different answer. I'll take a quick little plug. We're going to have kind of a short video and an email coming out later today. But if anyone's been in there, been in Aurora today, you've probably noticed some changes to battery adders and kind of how batteries are priced. So I may take a moment and just talk briefly about that. But generally, you will need to toggle the adders on in Aurora manually. They're not going to be automatically added, particularly if if we're talking about whatever, adding an MPU, even though they might not need it or anything along those lines. I mean, obviously Goodleap has certain guidelines around what they will and will not finance. But generally the answer is you're going to need to add them in Aurora the way that you normally would on, say, a Mosaic deal. When you convert it to CRM, of course, Lightspeed will take all of that data as well as the EPC that we're getting from Goodleap and put that in front of you the way you normally do, and you'll have a breakdown of all the adders and the net PPW. So it's helpful from that perspective, just to give you a sense of where your pricing is gonna fall. We definitely recommend, as Mark has stated in other trainings, do that first before you kind of finish pricing the system, just so you know where you're going to land and you have your pricing accurate. But you do need to add them in Aurora, and then when you convert to CRM, they'll come over. The one exception as of today is batteries. We did have a change today that batteries are now going to be priced based on the battery and not where you have to manually add the adder. So in other words, when you add a battery, we now know the price of each battery because we've added these custom batteries, and we have, for example, a SolarEdge backup, SolarEdge non-backup, Enphase backup, Enphase non-backup, Tesla, Arizona, and California, Tesla, and all the other states. So we know now by doing that what the prices are. So we are automatically adding the pricing of batteries, so you don't have to do that manually anymore. And then when you convert it to CRM, we'll have all the accurate pricing in there. So that's one that is taken care of automatically, but everything else is.
All right, so we are getting a lot of questions in the chat. Most of it is about state availability, which Rob has gone over previously about what's going to be available. Also, we are working to get through all these questions. Sending duplicates will slow down that process, so we are working through them. We do want to get to all of your questions. We are getting a lot of questions about roofing and ground mounts. Does anyone want to talk about that process, and is that possible with the CPO products? I know with many others, typically those send the pricing to a place where it's not possible. Is it possible with this product? That would clear up a lot of the questions in the chat.
Yeah, we can
roofing and
take.
ground mounts.
Yeah, we could. So ground mounts are okay. Goodleap TPO products are good for ground mounts. So please send us your ground mounts. Roofing, we do accept roofs. Roofs can be added to the TPO and the lease. It does need to be related. The way to think about it is, do you need to re-roof the job in order to install the solar? That's totally fine. However, one thing that we can't allow is if you're trying to re-roof the entire home and then only, a small mounting plane is for solar. James, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Nothing to add. That's correct. Thanks, David.
Yeah, great question.
A couple of questions we've received in the chat are about the buyout after 5 years. Folks from Goodleap, would you mind discussing with the audience how that works?
Yeah, James, do you want to handle that one?
Yeah. So, in our PPA or lease agreement, there are three options when you're selling a home, or if you essentially want to do some sort of assumptions process. So you can either transfer the agreement to the new buyer, or you can prepay all the remaining PPA payments for the remainder of the term, or you can buy out the system after the 5th-year anniversary only. The way that process works is within the agreement, we simplify the process and we created an exhibit which has all the buyout prices at every year of the term. So there's no manual calculations or outreach to Goodleap customer service to figure out how to buy out the system. In the agreement, it lists, in year 1 or year 10, or excuse me, not year 1, in year 10 or year 20, what the buyout price. Reach out to us and initiate the buyout process.
Thanks so much. So we're going to start sending more questions onto the screen momentarily. We are getting questions about the non-backup battery option in California. Is that available with both lease and PPA? And can you discuss your non-backup option for California?
Yeah, this is James again. So for our non-backup product, which we are calling our Solar Plus Energy Shift product, it is only available in the 3 California investor-owned utilities: PG&E, Southern California Edison, SCE, and SDG&E. All products will be a PPA plus non-backup product. It will not be a lease.
Sounds good. So a lot of the questions we've gotten in the chat are, talk about the welcome call. We do have some welcome call resources that do our email recap at the end of this webinar. We'll send out a link to this presentation where you can review it, watch the presentation, the Q&A, which we're conducting right now, and it'll have some additional links and documentation to help you with this process. So as far as Copilot is concerned, is there anything, David, James, you guys want to share about how that process works when completing the welcome call for Goodleap?
Yeah, I can take that. This is James.
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry,
James.
David. So immediately after you qualify the homeowner and you have them sign the DocuSign agreement packet, our system Origin is going to send you an email. So a sales rep and the homeowner or homeowners, depending on how many applicants there are, an email with a link to their unique welcome call survey, which is done through Copilot. Ultimately, when you receive the link, if you click the link on a laptop, it'll open a unique web browser to which you can complete the Copilot survey on a laptop. The typical time frame is about 2 minutes. There's another option where you can download the Copilot app from the App Store or Google Play Store, depending on your device. And from there, once you download it, if you click on the link in the email instance within the Copilot app on your device, and you could do it through mobile as well. So 2 methodologies to do it. either download it via an app on your mobile device or through a URL web browser on your laptop.
Thanks, James. A couple of questions we've gotten in the chat are, does Goodleap allow for ITIN numbers?
Yes, we do.
All right, easy, straightforward.
Yeah, and this is
What is the
James.
process? Go ahead.
Just to double click a little bit on kind of our credit underwriting requirements. So our credit underwriting requirements are very similar to our loan requirements in terms of some of the overlays on the back end. The difference with our PPA and lease product is we do not have a debt to income requirement. So aside from that, it's very similar to our loan in terms of our credit eligibility requirements.
We've had a few questions in the chat about the cosigners. Does the cosigner need to be on title? Who wants to take that one from Goodleap?
This is James again. Cosigner does not need to be on title. Only the main applicant needs to be on title. We do ask that the co-applicant has a vested interest in the home. So we're hoping you're not adding anyone that's not related to the homeowner.
Sounds good. Do you guys have a question we received about contracts? Do you have contracts and welcome calls available in Spanish? A certain checkbox they have to apply when building the proposal to get those contracts in Spanish, the welcome call in Spanish?
Yeah, so I believe when you fill out the credit application, you select the language. And then when you select Spanish, that should launch a Spanish welcome call.
All right. We got a question for Rob. Can we use Goodleap products with cooperatives?
Yeah, so and I do see some other questions about the utilities. Brian, I'll punt this one over to you a little bit as well. But so in Texas, as you guys probably know from working there with other partners or other relationships, every utility is a little bit different. So most of the big utilities do allow PPAs, the IOUs particularly. There are some utilities in Texas that only allow leases, and there are others that don't allow third-party ownership financing at all. We will have a active utility list for Goodleap. It's going to be in the Sales Resource Center. I do think that is created in there already. Brian, do you want to expand on that at all?
Yes, that's correct. We in the Sales Resource Center, we have a Goodleap folder now. When you click into the finance and payment options, and you'll find the active utilities list in there. Yes, and it has all the active utilities that Goodleap has for Texas in there. So if you don't see it on the list, it means it's not active. If you do see it on the list, you'll see available for that utility.
Thanks, guys. So we are getting questions about availability for a blank or example contract, so our reps can have an example of that. Is that something that we have access to in the Sales Resource Center, Brian, or is that something we can get a hold of?
Sorry, Mark, can you repeat the question?
Do we have a sample or blank contract for sales reps to review in the SRC?
Got it. I don't have one of those available yet, but I will work on getting one and uploading it.
Okay, sounds good. And David said in our chat that he'll send one over to us. We'll probably include that in the SRC in our Goodleap folder. So if you navigate to the Sales Resource Center in Lightspeed, under Finance and Payment Options, you'll find a folder for Goodleap, and we'll have a lot of supporting documents. We still are getting a lot of repeat questions about state availability. As it stands right now, Texas is the initial market, then California, New Jersey, and Florida. Have any additional information on other states? I apologize. I know folks are eager to get this out into other states, but those are the initial markets, with Texas opening first. or a soft credit check. It does go through as a soft credit check.
Mark, can I have a moment to talk just about launch timing and user access?
Absolutely, Rob.
All right, very good. So, in terms of launch timing, first of all, I know everybody's eager to get this, so we do expect to have this live in Texas, as we mentioned today. There's basically two things that need to happen. Freedom needs to release its code to open up Goodleap on our side, and then we need to enable it in Aurora. The Freedom piece is just about done, I believe, so just need to make sure that's wrapped up, and then we'll go ahead and turn it on in Aurora. In terms of user level access, everyone, when it goes live in Aurora, will be able to see Goodleap financing in the states that it is active. So everybody can see it in Texas, or will be able to see it in Texas when it goes live. You can price, you can create a proposal, you can do whatever you want, regardless of who you are. However, only those users that have an account in Origin, Goodleap system, will be able to run credit. And so that is the point at which, if you don't have an account in Origin, you would get blocked and you would not be able to proceed. In terms of how we've handled user accounts, we sent a list of, I think it was probably 13 or 1400 users, something like that, or maybe about 1,000 users that either have sold a deal in Texas since May 1st or have created a lead in Texas since May 1st. So most people that are active in Texas and you have done anything there, sold a deal or created a lead, you will already have an account in Origin. All right, we've already set it up for you. We've sent your information or email if you have, as well, like a California HIS number. We've sent that over as well and prepped for when we launch California. So you would not, the way that it was imported, though, is you would not have gotten any email or notification from Goodleap, and you'll need to use the forgot password to get in. I know there was an initial batch of like 300 or 400 people that I think on like Thursday or Friday got invitations. So that group probably got an email, and I know several hundred of you had already accepted those and gotten in. There are several hundred more that yesterday at some point that we did have accounts created, but it was kind of created in a different way, and you're not going to get an invitation that way. So basically what I'm trying to get at is you can go to the Origin login site and use the forgot password to get in if you're curious about whether or not you have an account or not. So it's origin, ORIGIN .goodleap.com. That's where you can go. And you can basically use the forgot password and see if you have a login. If you don't have a login, that's something that Freedom's dealer support team can assist with. There is a link that will circulate in this kind of launch email, recap email later on today. That's where you can request a login, but I suspect most people that need it will already have a login. You can just basically go into Aurora and try to run a credit application, or you can try to log into Origin directly. And if you're able to get in, then of course you have a login. So anyway, wanted to go through that. I think that's helpful information. Back to you, Mark. Thanks.
Appreciate it, Rob. Our next question is, if a customer wants to buy out their agreement, is it a prepayment of the rest of the power, or are they actually purchasing the system? For Goodleap, who wants to take that one?
Yep, sorry, I was muted. So, James, we talked about this earlier. They can buy out the remaining payments or purchase the system.
That's correct. So the customer can prepay all of the remaining PPA or lease agreements at any time after the system is activated. They can only purchase or buy out the system from Goodleap after the 5th year anniversary of when the system is activated. So there are both options, except the buyout or the purchase from Goodleap cannot occur until after year 5.
Appreciate that response. Do you guys put with your products, or is there any liens on the property? Who wants to take that one from Goodleap?
Sorry, keep putting myself on mute.
No worries.
There's a UCC filing, so we do not lien the property It's a lien on the system that's recognizing that Goodleap owns the system. But that's industry standard, but we do not lien the property, the home itself.
Sounds good. Rob, we have some questions about in the chat about the change order process. Are you able to elaborate how that process will work? Is it a simple process for change orders?
Yeah, it is. I think we'll have we do have some resources planned to go out to you. In particular, kind of like a 2 or 3 page help guide that helps you understand. Okay, when do I need a change order? When do I need a new agreement? What do I do in this scenario? Just some common kind of FAQs and common issues that we think some guidance will be helpful for. But yes, generally the change order process will be very simple. The process will change depending on whether it's pre-sale or post-sale. Post-sale, as is the case with most other TPOs, we highly recommend that you go through Freedom's team to make any changes, whether it's just a layout change, pricing change, whatever the case may be. So you can do that a couple of different ways. You can chat into Sales Concierge and then request a live scope of work call, and you can essentially work through the change that you want to make live with one of our designers. Or you can open up a ticket to our team and try to describe as kind of detailed as you can what it is you'd like and what kind of changes you'd like to see. Those are the 2 main ways. And then, of course, if it's kind of during scope of work confirm, you can deny it and request whatever you want there. That's kind of another way that you could request a change. If you're talking pre-sale, the process is very, very simple. You're essentially going to follow the same process that you did to create the proposal and the contract to begin with. But once you are credit approved, or once you've sent docs or signed docs or anything, instead of the apply now button, you're going to see a button that says send changes. And so essentially, let's say you wanted to change the rate or you wanted to add modules or whatever, so you make the change that you want to make, then you click the send changes button. And at that point, depending on what's happened, a few things are going to happen. If there's docs that have been sent but haven't been signed, the plan is that the system would void those docs, resend a new set with the updated information. If there's docs that have been signed, then it would essentially trigger an amendment or a change order, in other words, to go out to the customer with the updated information. All of that very seamless, very, very easy to do. I don't suspect anybody's going to have any issues, but that's generally the process. And again, more kind of information to come on that in the recap email a little bit later on today.
Thanks, Rob. We do have some questions in the chat about the ACH process for the folks at Goodleap. When does the homeowner sign up for ACH, and does that prevent them from doing the welcome call?
Yeah, so the ACH information is collected in the PPA or lease agreement. There is an exhibit where the homeowner will enter in the ACH information. The information must be entered in order to execute the PPA agreement as part of the DocuSign process. The ACH information does not block Call Pilot once the DocuSign is executed. We do validate the ACH information before NTP is approved. So it's in our best interest to make sure that that information is accurate at the time that the agreement is executed.
Thanks, James. This question is for us on the Freedom side. The adders that we choose, does that get added to the cost of the system, or does it get taken out of the EPC price? Rob, do you want to maybe share a quick breakdown of how the process works with a TPO versus when you're doing like a cash or loan?
Yeah, definitely. So as you guys know, when you price a cash or a mosaic deal in Aurora, you're essentially doing kind of a net PBW plus pricing method, right? So it's kind of what I've heard referred to as a bottom up, right? So you define the net PBW that you want, you choose all the adders that you want to include, it adds those adders to the net PBW, and then the gross contract price or the loan amount lands wherever it lands based on kind of those two selections or variables. TPO products, and specifically Goodleap, work differently. They work what has been referred to as kind of a top-down pricing approach. So based on the escalator, the product, the state, and the sun hours, that is what is going to determine your EPC. And EPC is just kind of another term, as I'm sure most of you know, for gross contract price, or you can call it a few different things, I'm sure, but that's the top line amount. That's what Freedom is going to get paid for that job. From that top line number, you then have to subtract the adders that apply to that job to get your net PPW. So it's a little bit of a different way of pricing. As Mark mentioned earlier, you do need to add the adders in Aurora. That is very important. But the net PPW that you input in Aurora is irrelevant for the purpose of Goodleap. That has no bearing, no impact on the system cost. That gross contract price is driven solely by the rate escalator, sun hours, and state of that job. So hope that makes sense. Happy to go through that again. I think we have a video or two about that in the Sales Resource Center, but that's a very important concept to understand.
This is next question is for our side as well. After you exit the CRM, do we manually submit, or is it like others where it's automatically submitted? So this would work very similar to submitting with cash, loan, or Endfin, because it's built into Aurora. When you choose that exit the CRM button, it is going to automatically submit the project. You'll still work through the project generation flow to complete that, but you will not have to go in and click the manual submission button. That's a good question.
And in fact, to add on to that, Mark, there will be no manual submission option for Goodleap, just as is the case with some other providers as well. So you have to convert it from Aurora. That is your only option in this case.
So this is kind of another question about the ACH process for the Goodleap folks. With other TPO partners, there is a financial benefit to going with ACH. Does their price increase, or what is the ACH process, or is it just everything built in?
Yeah, it's a $10 discount if the homeowner pays by ACH. So, similar to others, we discount it, which is the amount that's shown in Aurora when you guys are quoting the system.
Okay, y'all, we are getting to the portion of the presentation where we've either only had duplicated questions or stuff that we've already addressed. If you have any questions that we haven't addressed in the chat, go ahead and send them now into the Q&A. We still have our panel here for a few more moments. Want to make sure we get your questions answered.
I'll just maybe add a little bit more color, Mark. I know we're getting a bunch of questions about additional states and such, and I know you don't want to get anybody too excited or whatever, but beyond the 4 states that expand to additional states, we just don't have exact details and timing and all. As we've said several times, first 4 states, and then beyond that, we are likely to expand, just not exactly sure when at this point, but we will have more information coming out as soon as we know that.
All right, folks from Goodleap, we got a couple of questions in here. Not sure if those are already addressed, but do you allow second systems or add-on systems?
Yeah, we do not allow second systems at this time. We're looking into allowing it in the future, but not as of today.
All right. Well, folks, we've pretty much reached the end here now, so we thank you all for being here. We will send out a recap later this afternoon with some additional documentations and links to the S for like the contract validation. We'll have a link to the recording, and we'll be able to answer any questions that you may have. You can email us directly at producteducation@freedomforever.com. We will always be available for you there. Someone's unmuted. Do anything to add?
Yeah, hey, I just wanted to wrap up maybe for us on the Goodleap side. Introduce myself. My name's Cody Stein. I'm Vice President of Business Development. I've got my partner, Emily Bowden, who's going to be working very closely with Freedom. And, you guys already met our awesome team with James and David Schoenberg. Just to give you guys a little idea on what we've been working on, kind of our whole motivation for getting into the TPO space over the last, year and a half. You guys know we've been a loan company, been very successful as a loan company, and we've been working diligently as we were kind of trying to figure out if we wanted to get into this TPO space. how to do it the right way. If you take a look at our backgrounds, or if some of you know us, we've got over 10, 15 years in solar business, solar sales directly, solar installation companies, work for some very large organizations on inside sales and outside sales. Basically, our entire team is built up of solar sales professionals, and we built the financing platform that we would want as a sales professional. And we've spent hours and hours of really just asking questions and listening from industry, the best in the industry on what they want, what they need, what they like, their concerns about financing products, the pain they're feeling from different platforms, making their job harder, making it more confusing for customers. And really, we just set out to build the best product that we would want to use. So it's really, kind of for us as we see it. Emily's great. She's going to be involved with some of your team, most of your team, most of the time. I'll be, involved as much as you'd like me to. But we're excited for this product to roll out. Freedom organization has been, top of the game, top of the industry, has just been crushing it. So we welcome all feedback. We're looking forward to getting better and creating, probably the best product for the consumer. Keep the consumer safe, keep our industry safe, and keep the salespeople, playing on a playing field that is infinite. We all love what we do. We love the industry. We don't want it to be tarnished or to be hurt. We want to continue doing what we do. So, this is a great partnership to make sure that we go out there and do things the right way. And we really appreciate the time today. Emily, do you have anything to add?
Hi, team. No, we're just super excited. I mean, it only makes sense for the, best installer and the best lender to work together. So we're excited about the future for sure.
Thank you so much.